Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about 25 different things that you should declutter immediately. So these are little things that you can declutter that are actually going to add up. You wouldn't think that by decluttering these small amount of things that it's going to make a huge change, but it actually will. You guys have been seeming to really enjoy my decluttering series that I've been having going on here the last little while. And one day I was sitting here thinking of the next room and the next thing that I was going to declutter. And I just kind of started thinking about all these random little things that I should go through. And then I thought, why don't I make a list of a bunch of small little things that a person can declutter in their homes that will add up to make a big impact. So these are things that you're going to be using in your daily life that you sometimes might not even think about, but when you actually take a moment to look at it, it's little things that are coming out of control. So once you actually get that back under control, it's going to make a positive impact to your life. So without further ado, let's get on into it. So the first thing is old condiment packs. So if you are like me, you are constantly keeping like the little ketchup packets that come in your McDonald's bag, or soy sauce packets that come with your Chinese takeout, like stuff like that. I'm always keeping those. Now, it depends on if you're the type of person that actually does use them, but I know a lot of people just keep them and they have this like huge drawer or a cup or whatever filled with this stuff and it never gets used. Now, personally, my boyfriend works on the railroad, so he works away for quite a few days out of the month, and when he's on the road he takes lunches with him and whatnot, and he can't, obviously he's driving a train, so he can't just stop for takeout, so he's always taking stuff with him. So we do use these condiment packets quite frequently. Like, they're perfect for him to just toss in his bag whenever he's bringing lunch. So we use ours, but I know a lot of people do not use theirs, so that is one thing. Get rid of those. It's not going to waste you any money. I know you kind of feel like it's wasting, and so you don't want to throw them away, but if you're not using them, then what does it matter if you waste them? Because they're just sitting in your drawer anyways, not being used. So you might as well just throw them out and have the space back in your drawer. Number 2, hair accessories. So things like old hair ties, bobby pins, clips, headbands that never get used, those sort of things. My mother-in-law, she is so sweet. She's always buying my sister-in-law and myself these little grab bags from this, I don't know if Ardene's is a store that's just in Canada or if it's all over the place, but we have a store called Ardene's, and they always have these little grab bags, and it's basically filled with stuff that they can't sell. So it's like, you know, like last season's whatever, and it always comes with like scrunchies and hair ties and stuff like that. But there's so many of them. I have collected so many, and I use quite a bit of it, but I've collected so many of them that I can't possibly use them all. So, and I know that so many people are like this, like, you know, you buy more bobby pins because bobby pins go missing, and then finally when you do deep clean of your house, you find 100 bobby pins, and then you put them all back in your drawer, and now you have 1,000 bobby pins, so which you probably don't need. So going through your hair drawer and doing a little purge out of that is going to make you feel so much better when you open up that drawer to get ready the next morning, and it's actually organized, it's not overflowing, you can see exactly what you need and pick it out with no problem. Tip number 3 is old books, or books that you are no longer interested in reading. I like to do this on the yearly because, as you guys can see, I have a lot of books. I'm a huge reader, but there are some books that I've lost interest in over time. I have not read all of these books, not even close. I talk about that more over on my other channel. I have a BOOKTUBE channel where I talk specifically about books. But yeah, like I have a lot of books on my shelf that I haven't read yet, and I typically do a lot of buys like at my local thrift store or at library sales and stuff like that. So I usually buy quite a few books at a time. So therefore I have tons that I haven't read yet. So I will go through once a year and kind of just pick out, am I still going to be interested in this book, or can I get it off my shelf? And especially for like reference books and stuff like that, if you have old textbooks or anything like that, a lot of that information is out of date. And a lot of times you're not going to go back and read your old textbooks anyways. So just like get rid of them. Tip number 4 is old medication. I like to go through, same thing, I like to go through my medicine cabinet usually at least once a year, and I like to toss out any sort of old medication that we no longer need or use, or old antibiotics or stuff like that. It's really dangerous to keep old expired medication. A lot of people think that it's fine, but it can actually be really dangerous to ingest old medication once it's past its expiration date. So, and not only that, but I'm pretty sure that it becomes really like pretty much ineffective. So if you need more medication that you have expired, that you have in your cabinet that's expired, just go to the doctor and get a new prescription. It's just not worth it. Tip number 5 is movies or CDs. If you're like me, once again, I like to hold on to that sort of stuff for nostalgic reasons. And I have a huge box in my garage of a whole bunch of my old VHSs. Now, my Disney VHSs I will never get rid of, but I have like just, you know, random movies on VHS and on DVD that we never watch, because who watches VHS and DVDs anymore? Like nobody. So I don't know why I even keep those. Downstairs, I have like whole 2 drawers filled with DVDs. We're never gonna watch them. So I will be decluttering that in a video coming soon. But yeah, these are things that you need to just get rid of. Like I said, I'm gonna keep my, my old Disney VHSs, but you know, you really have to decide what is worth it to you, because it's the nostalgia, which for the Disney ones, it is for me. But the rest of it, it's not that, it doesn't mean that much to me that it's worth it to take up space in my home, if that makes sense. So any show that you want to watch, you can stream now from somewhere. Number 6 is old spices. So a lot of people don't know this, but spices in your pantry actually do have an expiration date. So you definitely need to go through every once in a while and purge out the old ones, because that's just gross. As with anything, you wouldn't keep food in your pantry like, you know, rice or pasta or whatever for like 20 years. So why are you holding on to old spices? It's just, they do have an expiration date. I think it's probably safe to say that you can keep it like a little bit past its expiration date, a few months or whatever, like probably even up to a year. But I know some people that have spices that are literally like 20 years old and still use them, and that's just not for me. Tip number 7 is old sheets, towels, blankets. I'm guilty of this as well. We definitely are in need of new towels, and we are going to be doing a kitchen and a bathroom renovation coming up probably next year, coming up in January. And when we do that, I'm going to be getting all new towels, because all of our towels are old. They're like falling apart, they have holes in them, whatever. Like turn them into rags or donate them to your local animal shelter. They are always in need of old blankets and old towels. It just, you most of the time you don't use them anyways. You have like your few that you probably prefer. I know for myself, especially with blankets, like I'm always, if the one blanket is dirty, then I have another one that I prefer, but I probably have like 4 or 5 blankets. Why do I need the 4 or 5 blankets? Because I only use 2 of them, and the other ones just sit in the linen closet for forever. So once again, that's going to be something I'm going to be needing to declutter as well coming up. Number 8 is the bane of everyone's existence, I'm pretty sure, and that is Tupperware with no lids. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. I know I'm not the only one. I know all of you have Tupperware in your Tupperware drawer right now with no lids. Get rid of it. You're not going to find the lid, or you're going to only find the lid once you get rid of the other thing. But until then, you're not going to find the lid. Just let it go. Oh my gosh. Number 9 is reusable bags. I can't, you guys, I have so many of them. So many of them. So you get them like pretty much everywhere you shop. And I have probably 100. And a lot of them are the really, really small ones that you can barely fit anything anyways. Why am I keeping that? Am I the only one? Why are you keeping that? You can barely fit anything in it anyways. Keep like 10 that you use most often. Probably larger ones are the best. Keep a few medium ones, but nobody uses those little small ones, maybe like for your lunch bag or something like that. But even then you only need 1. So that's definitely something that you need to declutter, because I know I'm not the only one that has an excess amount of those bags. And the worst part is that half the time I forget to even bring them into the store with me anyways, and I have to purchase plastic bags anyways. They're sitting in my car ready to go, but I never remember to bring them into the store with me. Number 10 is bath and body products. It's not so bad anymore, but my mom is a huge sale shopper. So if she sees something on sale, she will buy like 15 of them so that she always has something on hand. And she's always giving me that stuff, which is awesome because I went for like 10 years without ever having to buy body wash or body lotion or anything like that because she was always giving it to me. But she would give it to me in such an excess amount that I would have like a whole linen closet shelf just full of extra, you know, like body wash, lotion, shampoo, whatever. And a lot of those things, once again, have expiration dates. So if you have something that's more than a couple years old, it's time to get rid of it and just buy as you go. It just takes up less space. It frees up that storage space for something else. Number 11 is old makeup, and I am guilty of this as well. I know that makeup has an expiration date. I can never understand how people use their makeup by the expiration date, because especially like when I worked out of the home, I would wear makeup most days and I still would never use like my eyeshadow palette. I would never use it by the expiration date. I had an eyeshadow palette for like 6 years and I still use it. I probably shouldn't. It's probably not good for my skin at all. But you know, you kind of go through different cycles where, especially like I just said, with eyeshadow palettes, maybe an eyeshadow palette that you used to use religiously, you no longer care for those colors anymore, but you keep it because you still have it, like it still is full or semi-full or whatever, and you used to use it all the time. So you think, I'm just gonna keep this in case I ever want to use it again. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. If you haven't used it in a month, get rid of it. So number 12 is something that might be a little bit controversial depending on who you are and your level of nostalgia, but things from your childhood. So for me personally, I kept so much from my childhood. I was always a really nostalgic kid, and I always had the idea that I wanted to keep things to show my kids. So I have so many of my old toys. I have like my old schoolwork from like 2nd grade, stuff like that. And now that I am a mom, I am just realizing that my kids don't care. Number one, they don't. And even though like my youngest is really young, I can't imagine, you know, maybe when they get older they would, but I highly doubt it. So, you know, I mean, like if you have, I have boys, and so all my old toys that I had, like my son Holden does not want to play with my old My Little Pony dolls, you know. But that being said, my boyfriend kept all of his old toys and he plays with them all the time, his old Ninja Turtles and whatever. So that's cool. But I don't think they're going to want to go through and look at my old schoolwork from 2nd grade, my spelling test, you know, stuff like that. It's cool for me to go through every once in a while, but I have like boxes of it, and go through it, pare it down, you know, maybe keep one box, like a small box of stuff like that for your memories. You don't need to keep it all. Number 13 is old jewelry. Tastes change. Just because you loved something in the past doesn't mean you're going to ever wear it in the future. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Number 14 is greeting cards. Oh, I'm sorry. Greeting cards are just the worst. They really are, because you feel so guilty of getting rid of them. So then you just keep them, but you never go back and look at them. And then they just take up space, but you feel bad getting rid of them because somebody wrote you a card. So I recently went through in my last bedroom declutter. What was that? And I went through, I had a huge tote underneath my bed, and a lot of it is like greeting cards and stuff. And I went through and I picked out some that were really special to me from when I was a kid, from like my grandmas and my dad and, you know, like aunts and uncles and stuff. But I tried to keep like just a couple of them from each person. And then like new ones as I'm an adult, I just try, like I'll keep them for a bit, maybe a year, and then I usually will get rid of them because they just take up space. They sit around, nobody knows what to do with them. And at the end of the day, you guys, you just gotta get rid of them because you're never gonna go through and read them all again. You just won't. As much as you feel bad, you just won't. Number 15 is freezer leftovers, and I am guilty of this all the time. If we're sick of eating leftovers of something, I will pop it in the freezer and it'll be like 6 months later and it will still be, like 6 months later and it will still be there. So you got to go through your freezer like every 4 or 5 months and toss those old leftovers that you haven't eaten, because they're not going to be good at this point. I mean, they were probably barely good as leftovers the next couple days anyways. Number 16 is mismatched or holey socks or underwear. I mean, do I really need to explain that one? Number 17 is junk drawers. You need to be going through your junk drawers. I know they're a junk drawer for a reason, that you can just throw stuff in there and not have to worry about it, but you gotta go through them at least every few months. You have to, because it gets out of control. You just keep adding more and more and more stuff to it, and eventually you're barely able to shut that drawer. You have to go through it and purge out of there. Number 18 is magazines and catalogs. I know a lot of us don't get magazines or catalogs anymore, but for those of you that do, you got to go through it every 6 months or so and get rid of the old ones, because same thing as the greeting cards, chances are you're not going to go back and reread a magazine from like 2 or 3 years ago. You're probably just not going to do it. If there's particular articles in that magazine that you want to reference or remember, maybe get yourself a binder and just take out those specific pages and put them in a binder or a do-a-tang or something, or even just take a picture of it with your phone so that you will have it on hand, but you don't need to keep the whole magazine. Number 19 is knickknacks and home decor. I don't know about you guys, but my tastes are constantly changing and evolving. So lots of times something that I really liked, 5 years ago, I don't care for anymore. So instead of just keeping it in your home, taking up space, looking cluttered, just get rid of it. Less is more. Number 20 is something that I spoke about in my last decluttering video, and that is kitchen appliances that are good for one thing. So I gave the example in my last video about my friend buying those little eggy things that you can make hard-boiled eggs in. It's literally only good. It's an appliance, kitchen appliance that is good for one thing, and that's making hard-boiled eggs, which you can just do in a pot. So go through and declutter all of your kitchen appliances that are only good for one thing. If you can make it another way, like on the stove just with a regular pot or whatever, do that, because it's not worth the space in your home, taking up space that could be for something else, for just that one item that can make the one thing. Number 21 is your closets, so clothes that you haven't worn in a year. Once again, in my last video, I gave the example about turning all of your clothes the other way when you're hanging them in your closets. Hang them backwards as you wear them, take them and then rehang them forwards the normal way. After your go through, and anything you haven't worn in a year, get rid of it, because you have had an entire year. Like, even if you see something and you're like, oh, that'll be good for Christmas Eve. Well, go your year. Did you wear it on Christmas Eve? No, you didn't? Well, you're probably not going to wear it on this Christmas Eve either, so get rid of it. Number 22, this is the thing that I hate decluttering so much, and that's old paperwork. Oh my gosh, I hate it so much. Like, having to go through old paperwork or like mail and deciding whether or not to keep it and where to keep it, like especially like bank statements, stuff like that, phone bills, whatever, like that. That is a special kind of torture for me. I hate doing that, but you need to do it. Instead of just keeping it all piling up, you gotta do it every couple of months. And the more often you do it, or even better, not keeping that at all, like not having a pile for it, just deciding on it right away where it's gonna go, that's even better. As I always, like, we're guilty of just like getting that stuff, putting it up, and then we have this huge pile of it and we have to go through it. If you can deal with it right when it comes into the house, even better. Number 23 is expired canned goods in your pantry. I don't think I need to say anything about that. Number 24 is old cleaning products. Once again, I bet you didn't know that most cleaning products have expiration dates. They become less effective. So make sure and go through and check. And if you haven't used something in a while, just get rid of it. And the last thing that you should purge that will make a difference in your everyday life is old batteries. I have a drawer in my entertainment stand and it has new batteries, but I'm sometimes guilty if I'm in a pinch, like if I'm trying to do it fast for one of my kids is screaming for a toy or something and I'm like trying to change the batteries fast, I'll throw the old ones in with the new ones. So if you have a battery tester, test your batteries, throw out any old ones, and try to make sure and get into the habit of making sure you throw out the old ones right away. Also, batteries that have been sitting for years and years, they probably don't work anymore. So if they're really old, even if you haven't used them and they're still in the package, if they're really old, chances are they actually don't work anymore. So that's a little known fact of it. Anyways, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. It was something a little bit different. Let me know in the comments down below if you have thought about all of these ideas or something kind of stuck out to you that was like, yeah, I should actually go through and declutter that at my house. Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.